Hey everybody, here we are again. This week we're live again with Does It Resonate with You? Um Interesting, we've done already all year. Oh, and by the way, I'm Angie, he's John.
Yeah.
Please hit the subscribe button if you get the opportunity. And if you listen all the way to the end and you like what you heard, please share too. That would be great. Anyway, we've up till now, the first few weeks of the show, we've done, what does 2024 look like? What's the energy for 2024? We did some readings and opened some decks and, things like that. But my guys were saying that this is a really good time now to start to look a little bit at what the previous year brought about, and are there things you'd like to change? Are there things you started but maybe forgot that you'd like to pick back up?
Hmm. Hadn't
um
thought of that.
yeah,
I got
right,
lots of those, let me tell you. Like
right, like, and
books
are
and
there,
courses.
yeah, well, that is, we're all good for that, I
Yeah.
suppose. But for me personally, New Year's Day is just kind of another day. So
Hmm.
it has been a very long, like, I mean, of course, when I was younger, I was, in the clubs,
Right. Me too.
right?
Yep. Me too.
And then when I had kids, a lot of times I was working
Hmm.
'cause I worked in restaurants.
Oh, right. That's like they want everybody on staff then.
Yep, everybody, and I mean, it was different than Christmas. I never agreed to Christmas, but I would say, well, I'll do New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. And you make a little extra then too.
yeah, you do. Although Thanksgiving was the best, but I mean, I made so much money on Thanksgiving comparatively,
Huh.
to other
How
days
interesting.
because people were so grateful that somebody was
Somebody who's working.
working, right?
That's cool.
Yeah. But so anyway, so this is where I'm going with this is that I just have not, you and I both know that resolutions don't work. I haven't even given a thought to a resolution and I don't even know how long. But now I'm starting to see the value of, I'm going to say rituals, whether I mean rituals, in like the sense that a lot of people think, or do I mean it like maybe there's just certain things you should do at the end of the year.
Hmm.
So like a review, I think a review
Yep.
is a really good idea right
Actually,
now.
there's an interesting point on that. There's some things you have to do as a business owner. You have to get books closed and information organized because you have to do your taxes. Why not do that same thing with other aspects of our life, right? Do that review.
Legit. Although, if you're going to use that argument,
Uh-oh.
I do not understand anyone that needs to take January, February, and part of March to get their stuff together to be able to file their taxes. You should be doing that every month, and it should not be a big deal at the end of the year.
Good
Just saying.
point.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, so anybody that calls me a procrastinator, because I procrastinate on a lot of things.
But not that.
But not that, and not only that, but the ones who look down their noses at procrastinators are always the ones that I know that are killing themselves, in March trying to get their crap together. Oh, I need to file an extension. No, you don't. You should have just done when you should have, whatever. Anyway, you get the point.
I
So,
do.
everybody, whether you pick up resolutions or whether you're a business owner or whatever, we could all benefit from saying, well, what should we do at the end of the year?
Hmm.
You know? Well, that is a practice. I do it to myself every year. I have to make myself create me. I don't, but I mean, it's just an Excel sheet. I print it out and then I plug numbers in. Not a big deal. But what should I do? So, I mean, do you leave things hanging sometimes from one year to the next? Are there
Um,
things that fall by the wayside and you forget about? And
yeah, there's things I started that I never completed, things, good practices. In fact, one of the reasons that I came up with this kind of lunar 30-day focus, one of the reasons I came up with that was because, shoot, I keep starting things and then not finishing them, like a program or a course or an exercise routine, and being able to have an automatic 30-day reminder, like, and if we include the full moon, then we've got the 38 and the 15-day reminder to stay on track with whatever this month's focus is. So
Okay, so I'm just gonna go with what I'm hearing, right? Because
that's why
that's
you're here.
how I roll. And and I don't think that you're the only one doing this. So this is not just directed at you because I do it too. How many of those things that fall by the wayside, and this is funny, they said it just this way, are squirrels. And what I
Um,
mean by that is you see it, it's a squirrel, you follow it, you think, oh, wow, this looks great. I want to do this. And then you get partway into it and it's not really compelling enough to keep your attention, or you
well,
didn't really have time to do it in the first place.
yeah, no, I think it's more the former. What I found is, well, so this is for the day job. I need to be focusing on this particular, I'll just say a programming language, right? I'm focusing on this programming language, and then I realize actually that project is on hold, and I actually have to work on this other one now. And so the course that I bought for that project is backburnered. So
Okay. Okay. So then uh it's unavoidable.
right, it's kind of a squirrel, but it's like not
But
my
it's
fault.
not really a squirrel because it's just it had value when you chose it,
Yes,
and then the value evaporated,
yeah, or
and you
just got
needed
backburnered. It's going to come
well,
back.
right, evaporated for the time being, and
Yeah,
then so okay, well that's something at least. But since we kind of lean toward the spiritual and not so much, I don't want to talk about taxes and I don't
right.
really want to talk about
Well, hey,
business.
let me give you another example. I bought that lovely Lenormand
Oh yeah,
deck
right.
and book. I got about a third of the way into the book, and then I just kind of forgot to finish it. So,
And
um, so,
I've had that deck, and I'm waiting for you to finish that book to tell me how it works.
so
I'm just
yes,
kidding.
actually, when I come around to next month, I'm going to pick next month as being kind of an Oracle focus, and maybe Lenormand will be the Oracle deck that I decide to focus on.
That I think that's a good idea. For me, maybe an idea would be really focusing on the framework of tarot so I can learn that a little better. But I have to tell you, I'm gonna give this is not like an affiliate thing or anything, but I'm gonna give this little thing a shout out again because I have to tell you, I cannot tell you how many times I pick up this deck and use it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's literally fortune telling deck. I know I've talked about it before, and uh I won't take but a second in it. And it's like really crazy things, like the cards, bad
Yep.
health or toil and labor,
Hey,
great fortune. I
is that
mean,
is that deck family friendly?
um I guess it depends on what your definition of family friendly is.
There's
Like there's
no
no foul language, but I think it could lean a little dark.
dark. Okay. All right.
And dark, and by dark I mean like like you could get, here's thief,
Yep.
um
I can handle that.
you know adjudication.
I'm trying to find a good deck for my kid to kind of practice with, and it almost sounds like that might be a fun one.
It I mean, I wonder if there's not maybe a kiddie, I don't mean kiddie, but a kid version
Hmm.
of something like this that would be um Yeah, honestly, I don't really know, but
Yep.
I'm
I
pretty
I do
sure
have
I've
this one, the
seen them.
Tarot for Kids, and that one's actually pretty good. So I may end up sticking with this one, but it just kind of the what you showed there, the concepts are so straightforward and unobscure that it might be a good deck to say, look, the thief means thief, right? Or
Yeah.
the
Well, of course it could be,
yeah, thief of
thieves
time,
could,
right? Someone wasting time or something.
right, exactly. So, but now here's one. I don't know where it is. It's called Magic Oracle. It's like be brave. It's cute. Be brave,
Cool.
have fun, congratulate yourself, accept your sensitivity. I just typed in Oracle deck for kids instead of Tarot.
Yeah, because
So
Tarot comes
something,
up with this one, but you said it's the Magic Oracle.
yeah, the Magic Oracle. I closed it, but
No, I'll
my
find it.
first my first Magic Oracle
Sweet. Okay.
by Gwenelle Dudek, I
Okay.
think Dudek. So
Sounds
it's
good.
not, I mean, it's not tarot, so it's not maybe as complicated.
Right.
Anyway, so if I told you that you have the power to go back to 2023 and change one thing, can you think of something?
Yes. So, and it's in the day job side of life, but it's the trajectory that life took me through to get to where I am now, which is pretty good. But um, last year was I can't swear, can I? Last year was difficult.
Yeah, 2023 was hard for I want to say everybody, and I
Yep.
know it was particularly difficult for you. It was particularly difficult for me too. So, is there an action that you can identify
Yeah, I took
that would
forever.
change that trajectory?
I took 4 months to actually decide to kind of change my career path because I didn't want to do it. And had I decided right at the beginning, like, all right, we're going to change on a dime, I would have had 4 more months of joy and would have been, further along than I am now. It was four
Well,
months of struggle, literally 4 months of struggle, and asking the question, why are things not working? Um, Now, I guess one of the things I learned, so I did learn something. One of the
oh,
things
we
that,
always learn,
right,
right?
I learned that even when things are kind of down in the dumps and things aren't working well, you still have access to your guides and teachers, and you still get good advice and good direction.
Absolutely. Even before you're aware they're there, you get that.
Yeah.
I was just having a conversation with Matthew yesterday, where he was telling me, like, do you remember when you decided to look at houses in March? I said, yeah. He said, that was me. I was like, oh, okay. Which I did. Like,
Mhm.
I was in the tax business, but it was the perfect time because my house went on the market the morning that I looked at it, and we had a contract later in that day.
Oh, wow,
I
that's
mean,
cool.
it just lined up like so perfectly. And he's like, "Do you really think that was by accident?" I'm like, "Okay." So they're there regardless, right?
Sure. Yep.
Um, and but what I wonder is at the time that you were uh making that choice and the time that you were putting it off, because this is something I've been working with people on, um, is the comfort zone, like the comfort zone. And then there's some growth that is inside your comfort zone, right?
Yep. True.
Like let's say you have a job and uh you're up for a promotion, and you're fully capable of this promotion,
Hmm.
and you really want this promotion, and it's more money and what have you. So that growth is within your comfort zone.
Right.
So your mind doesn't put up any roadblocks. It doesn't put up any roadblocks. It doesn't put any doubts in your head about, oh, well, don't do that. They might choose you for that promotion. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right. It's safe.
It's safe, right? And um, where you are now, to me, was always inside your zone of possibility, shall I
Hmm.
say?
Hmm.
But very often that lives on the outside of the comfort zone.
Yep.
And so I wonder how often you are getting messages. This is the right thing to do. You need to move on. You need to get out of here. And you just weren't listening to them.
Oh,
I mean, we all do that,
yep.
right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
so what does it take for us? How can we make an agreement with ourselves that we'll listen to that guidance?
I
Like,
think the clearest thing for me is to really do the daily, not just a card pull, but sometimes no, I should commit to just doing a full reading every day. Basically saying what do I need to know about, this particular aspect of my day, or of my life, um, especially when things don't seem to be doing well. I think just committing to whatever it is for you that connects you to spirit or connects you to your higher self.
okay, but just because you know me, I got to take it a step further.
Sure.
What if you make that commitment, but you don't commit to taking the action
Mm,
that they are, that they're laying out in front of you? No change without action. There's no change.
true.
You know that, right? So I I'm just wondering if it's not better to say, to commit to not only to connecting to the guidance, but really making a commitment to act on it. Because I think that's where we get ourselves into trouble,
Yeah.
is
I
not
do
acting
know
on the
that
guidance.
once I started taking the steps that initially I had been resisting, once I made those steps, then everything turned around, and the thing I feared most didn't happen.
Isn't that interesting?
It is. It's very interesting.
And isn't it interesting how, and it doesn't matter how energetically sensitive you are necessarily, or like I am. I mean, that's what I do in my work, is I connect to the energy of whoever I'm talking to, in a session. Um, and that's one of the cues I get, that we're working through something, is that I can feel the energy shifting. But you don't need to be me to feel that. Like so maybe it's not some kind of energetic sensation, but all of a sudden things seem a little easier.
Hmm.
Or
Yep.
maybe the sky seems a little brighter, or
Yeah.
the sun seems to be coming around a little more often, or
Yep. Or you get an email from someone who solves a particular conundrum out of the blue. And you're like, huh, how about
right?
that? Yes.
Right? I mean, it is kind of amazing because they're there, they help us even when we're not asking for it. They're part
Hmm.
of our lives. And so I want to tell a little bit of a different story, but I think this is just so interesting. You all know that I'm in the Mooneyverse, right?
Hmm.
Mooney's one of Mooney's what do you call those things?
Yeah.
Mastermind. And so he does a podcast for Mind Body Spirit FM. Radley Valentine has one. There's a bunch of people that have podcasts on this Mind Body Spirit FM. And so he invited me to be a guest on this podcast. And this was last year sometime. And last year, you and I both know, for both of us, last year, well, I'm just going to say it sucked.
Yep.
I mean, it really did.
100%.
Last year was so hard. And so I did this podcast with him, and I didn't really feel good about it. I mean, we have conversations. I'm used to conversations. I'm used to being on camera. It wasn't anything about that, but it was like what I was kind of putting out there, how I feel about things, what it is that I do, because he's all about lifting people up and
Yeah.
putting you out in front of the world, and
Yep.
and helping you spread your message. So that's what it was about. Um, And I was like, I, all last year I was like, I don't really know who I want to work with or what I want to do.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, his audio was like destroyed on that episode. So it was unusable
No kidding.
and needs to be re-recorded, which I have a session with him to re-record it shortly here. However, now let's add that I was having a conversation with Deborah Helsky, who I'm doing that Daruma event with tomorrow night on the
Yep.
full moon. And she said, I told her about this, and she said, that happened to mine too. She said the audio on mine, Mooney's audio on my episode also went out and couldn't be used. I'm gonna re-record it. And she said, and now that I think about it, what I said I did then and what I said was on my website then is completely different than what it is now. So that's two, right? That's two.
Spirit's
That's
got
no
this eraser
coincidence,
that just goes.
right? Sorry, this is not going to work. And I just find that to be
Wow.
so
I just got to say, you can't
positive.
make this stuff up.
No,
That
right?
is so good, Angie. That
You,
just that
you
whole story.
right? You just can't make it up. So, the idea of you hear the idea of living in flow,
Yeah.
and flow. I mean, I think that people that talk about flow make it sound like this really elusive thing and it's really hard to achieve. But the truth of the matter is, the more you take action in alignment with who you are and what you're trying to create, the more you are in flow.
Yeah.
And the more you are in flow, the more you're inviting the universe and your guides, teachers, and angels to take care of those things that you don't see.
Mm-hmm.
So if I look back at 2023 and this hadn't happened, what would be one thing I'd want to change? It would be that podcast.
And guess what? That got
And
changed.
it got changed. So and
Dang.
I'm looking forward to it now because I have so many more ideas of what it is that I would like to speak about. I have a better idea of who I want to work with.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen what is possible when I work with other people, and I have more feedback. I've got just, I mean, it's just so much better.
Yep.
It's
I can
amazing,
feel
isn't
the
it?
vibe, Angie. I can feel
Right?
it. It's just it's palpable. That's so good.
Isn't it? I mean, it's just so cool. So, I want to say that one of the things that I believe has really helped, and I think it's helped you too, but this is for you to say, are these conversations we have and these things
Yeah.
we talk about and the things that we bring forward for ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
the opportunities we give ourselves to think and maybe shift a little bit or change our
Yep.
minds or
Definitely changing or shifting, and it's almost like a kind of recommit's not the right word. It's like a reminder to stay the path, right?
right, because it if you do that, the outcome is assured.
Yep. Yeah.
And I love the idea that we've come up, and I've heard this so many times over the years, like starting way back in the beginning, but and it was somebody in my early days, that mentioned this the first time. Don't be attached to a particular outcome
Mm-hmm. Right.
because the outcome that is available to you could be more than you could possibly imagine.
Yep.
So don't be attached
Right.
to,
Put your
you
intention
know,
out there and be ready to take action, and the universe will take care of the rest.
yeah, I mean, isn't it's amazing, right? Like,
Yeah.
so 2023 up until now, I mean, we're just in the beginning of 2024. So, 2023, hard year. There's a lot I don't want to go through again,
Right.
but I think that a lot of the things that I went through have led me to where I am.
Absolutely.
And dare I say, helped me on my mission to learn how to meet people where they are and to try
Mm,
and walk around in more of a state of neutral. What about
hmm.
you?
Yeah, let's see. What have I learned? I think probably the main thing. So this is funny. Um, I intend to meditate every day, and when I don't, then I get kind of like caught in the anxieties of day to day life. And when I do, everything goes well. You'd think that would be a pretty obvious lesson, but no, I continue to well, and that's the thing that it became clear because while I was in kind of the difficult times, I was tired and kind of not feeling like I wanted to meditate, and so I didn't. And of course, that just is that increases the downward spiral, right?
Absolutely. Right? Because the truth is, you meditate, you connect to the energy, you feel better, you have more energy,
And
right?
it's
It's
that's the
just
upward spiral.
you're right, exactly. I mean, it's just such a slippery slope. That's really, I mean, so that is really truly what I'm planning to work on this year is to figure out a way to put that together for people because you are not the only one, my friend.
Hmm.
You are not the only one. I am not the only other. I'm hearing it everywhere. People are off the wagon with meditating or people are so overloaded, their plates are so full that the first thing that goes is their own self-care. I'm
Yeah, that's it.
sure.
That right there. That's the key phrase, right? The first thing that goes is the self care.
I mean, and
You're
I'm
100% correct on that.
I absolutely, I mean, for me it started in 2015, the time that I had to dedicate to myself kept getting smaller and smaller until it kind of really crescendoed in 2021 and
Hmm.
2022. And so by 2023, when that came along, I was shocked. Like there was just nothing left
Yep,
for
kind of
me in
burnt out.
there was nothing left of me in 2023. Like you know, and so that I mean that is like going to be my new mission is to figure out a way to help people anchor themselves to these practices because when we do them
Hmm.
it's easy to get in the habit of it but it's also very easy to get derailed.
Yeah, I was reading a guy a couple months ago talking about building new habits, and his technique is something I forgot the term for it, but it's like habit hooking, where you hook a new habit onto an old one, and then it becomes more easy to keep going. So an example was, if you brush your teeth every day and you want to floss, well, you just floss right after you brush, and now you've got the two things together, right? And so habit stacking, that's what it's called. It's called habit stacking. And I kind of thought, you know what? In my routine when I get started for my workday, if I were to do the same thing, I always like come in, turn on the computer, go do this, right? If one of those things is, all right, I set my phone aside and I do my morning meditation right then and there, that can be the habit stacking that will,
And I really find that if you can find a piece of music that is as long as the amount of time that you have.
hmm,
So for example, let's say you only have 5, 6 minutes. You could for 21 days, you could, and I can totally do this. That Lord of the Rings song,
yeah,
Into the West.
yep,
It's an amazing meditation song, and it's only 6 minutes.
cool,
Or if you have 15 or so it just takes a little looking, right? You just have to
right,
look. It's just a little takes a little looking. But if you use the same piece that is the same amount of time, because then if you have 5 minutes to meditate, you don't have to mess with the timer, right? That jars you out of it.
sure, yep,
The music ends. right? So
You're
it just
giving me an idea, Angie. I write music as one of my hobbies, and I've got a bunch of meditation music I'm working on. I'm going to create a 5-minute piece, a 6-minute piece, a 7-minute piece, right? Not just 5 and 10. Like, what if someone only has 7 minutes? Well, here you go. Here's your 7-minute piece.
right. And and then here's the crucial thing is to listen to the same piece
Hmm.
over and
Yep.
every day,
Yep.
right?
That gets you into the mode quickly.
Well, it gets you into the mode, but it's also a Pavlovian response,
Cool. Okay.
right? Because it's like I say that piece, probably the best music for meditation and relaxation. I don't use that when I work on people because I meditate to it. And so when that turns on, my body's like, oh, get it, check
Right.
out time, you know.
Like, no, I'm working.
So I mean, it really does trigger a response. So if you can meditate and create that habit by using the same piece over and over, which is why it has to be a particular, you can't listen to everything day after day after day. That not all things are, you can't do that, right?
Right.
Although Into the West, I it's an amazing piece. And because it's so transformational and such a journey, you can pick up where you left off, which I
Mm-hmm.
think is kind of
Yep.
amazing. So
What do you think
but
of?
anyway, so that's a really good, and that's back to basics.
Right.
And so
Right.
that's something that I'm looking at, like if I create a membership or if I create, I'm looking, I think, at a membership or a year-long course or something, there would be something like that every
Yep.
day.
Yep. That I have a question on that. What do you think of challenges? Like, we're going to do a 14-day challenge, and then you get a reminder every day to participate. So it kind of like,
I like challenges. I've been thinking about I'm thinking about there's another one I'm thinking about creating, and it's
yeah, I am too.
creating a functional connection to your higher self.
Mm,
Um so I will say this. If they're too long, people don't stick around all
right.
the way to the end.
Exactly.
And so in my experience, just what I've seen, 3 to 5 days is kind
Yep.
of
I agree with that.
kind of what people can handle. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. So keep stay tuned, folks, for those kind of things from us too.
Cool. Yeah, no,
Um,
you can't do a 72-day challenge, one for each card in the tarot, right?
yeah, no, I don't think that would be a very good idea. But you might be able to do, what is it, 11 to do the Fool's Journey?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I don't know about a tarot challenge. I don't know what that looks like. Maybe
Yeah.
it's
No,
just,
I like the Fool's Journey. That's a really good idea.
well, isn't that something? I'm good for that kind of thing.
Indeed.
Okay, so what else? How do you feel? I mean, 2023, a lot of struggles. Have they passed? Are there lingering effects? What do you need to let go of? I mean, we want to talk, we're coming to the end of our time here. So
Yeah. Yeah. I
we
think,
want to kind of really talk about the full moon a little bit because we've got that full wolf moon
yeah.
tomorrow.
Yep. Let's hop onto that. Just briefly though, things that are lingering. There's a few more things I'd like to tweak, in the life. One of the things we talked about a while back was energy clearing of your house. And I think you mentioned that when the house is cluttered, you have more dense energy. So
Yep.
keeping the house not only energetically clean, but also physically, tidy and getting rid of old stuff is important. So we embarked on that journey this past, this month already.
Oh, amazing.
Yep.
That's really amazing.
Yep. What
And
can we
that
get rid of?
and that's one of the and it's not like the oh, what is it? What was her name?
Marie
Marie
Kondo?
Kondo.
Yeah.
Get rid of things that don't bring you joy. Great. Now my laundry's gone, my bills are gone.
All right. Yes, right. You
Took it
nailed
too
the
far.
problem.
I took it too far.
Yeah. No, you nailed the exact problem.
Right?
Right.
So, I mean,
Furnace filters, they
although
certainly don't give me joy, but if I throw them away, bad idea.
sometime, I don't know if you've checked it out, but sometime I think I'd like to, at least for part of it, I'd like to talk about the idea of Swedish death cleaning. So if you haven't seen it, I can't remember. I think it's on, I don't know, it might be on Peacock. I don't know.
Oh, it's a
Swedish
program?
Swedish death cleaning. Yeah, I binge watched the whole season. And
Wow.
it's really, really interesting. It's the idea of getting your getting your surroundings under control so that when you pass on, the mess isn't left to the, what do you call them? The
Um,
people who are still around.
yeah, the survivors.
Like left to
Yep. Relatives
whatever.
and family. Yeah.
Right, your family and
Oh my
relatives.
goodness. I have experienced what happens when that isn't done.
See? So,
It's
um,
horrendous.
but like that idea,
Yeah.
the idea of that, and sort of making peace with the whole idea of, um, you know, all of those things. I feel like these days I'm not ready to go, but I'm ready to talk about it, like to think about it.
Interesting.
Anyway, so I wanted to make sure I pulled this up right away. We've got a few minutes left. We want to talk about it. So right now, this full moon, and full moon rises tomorrow, the first
Hmm.
one.
Yep.
And it's in the fire sign of Leo. So that brings a sense of passion and earnestness to whatever else we're feeling. So they're always connoted with release
Hmm.
within astrology. And I know that we always talk about, um isn't this interesting the way they put this? 2024's first full moon lands in big-hearted main character Leo on 25 January, inviting us all to focus on what we want to call into our lives as the new year begins to take shape. I love that.
Yeah, that's good.
So the idea, to me, I mean, I miss them so much when I used to, when we used to have live meditations, and my crystal meditations were famous around
Yep.
here. I mean,
Yep.
because energetically speaking, they were very powerful. Just because of what I put together in the room,
Sure.
not because
Yep.
I'm special, please. But anyway, the
Crystal matrix.
idea, there you go. Um, the idea that you use the light of the full moon to help illuminate everything within you that's ready for healing and release, right? So
Hmm.
use the light, use the energy of the full moon to help you with that. That the fact that it's in the fire sign of Leo right now, I mean, what a brilliant time to take a look at what we set our intentions for
Yeah.
at the new moon, and then what are we trying to create space for as the new year begins to take shape,
Yep.
right? So, do you have something you're going to do tomorrow? Do you have a ritual you're going to do or anything for the
Um,
moon?
I think I'm going to certainly review what my intention was for this lunar cycle, which was focusing on health, um, and um, and then my normal thing of putting my cards out. So
Oh yeah. There's too much snow on the ground for me to put anything outside. I
I
haven't
don't
done
put
it
it
in a long
outside. I
time.
just set it by the window.
Oh yeah, I don't have really, although I guess somewhere full moonlight comes in the window here, I suppose.
Hmm.
Um
But back to the intention for this lunar cycle, which was health. I've done a number of things. I've exercised more regularly, not daily, but better.
Amazing.
And I also I've been reading a really, really, really interesting book on health. It's by the medical medium. He channels
I
a
know who the medical
yeah,
medium
yeah,
is.
yeah,
I
yeah.
read
Okay.
3 pages, I closed the book, and never picked it up again because
All
I
right.
don't wanna see inside somebody's lungs,
So
and
I'm
yes,
doing the
I did
audiobook.
anyway.
I'm doing the audiobook, so I get to hear it. And based on his book, he has a bunch of dietary changes that I made, and some vitamins I've been taking, and it's all been going amazingly well. So I'm
Well,
very
that's
excited.
fantastic.
Yep. So very happy about that. How about you?
Yeah, I didn't do well. I shouldn't have picked gluten to begin with.
Mm,
That was just not gonna go well. It was never gonna go well.
that's hard to cut out because so much of what is available is wheat,
No,
right?
it's not that's not it. It's
Oh,
not hard to cut it out.
oh,
It's easy not to have gluten in your meals. It's
okay,
easy because you just eat food that doesn't have gluten.
okay, good point.
Vegetables, meat, whole grains. You avoid bread, you avoid noodles. The problem is that gluten is what makes food taste good.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, it is. I mean, if you think about it, bread, pasta.
Yep.
Have you
I've
had
had
pasta?
gluten-free bread, and it's kind of crumbly and
Yeah,
dry.
not good.
All right.
Yeah. And have you had gluten-free pasta?
I don't think so.
Well, just don't.
Right. Just stop right there.
Just don't. Like there's no need. There's it, but it's easier to that would have been easier to do in the summer to get that kind of thing rolling in the summer. That would have been easier to do in the
Mm, mhm.
summer because all of the things that are available in the summer, there's corn and vegetables and
Oh yeah,
tomatoes and
lots of
lettuces and
fruits and
like
yeah.
lots and lots of things that you can eat. Um, but in the winter, it's cold and you crave
Hmm.
a thick stew that's
Yes.
chicken with flour
Yep.
or
Good point. Very good
y-
point.
you know,
Yep.
uh, with a piece of warm bread or there was
Yeah.
holidays and birthdays and all kinds of things. So uh, I'm accustomed to my plans going awry when it comes to myself. So, I'll just do the clearing work for the full moon and I'm working with the colors that Dougal Fraser gave us. And I haven't taken enough, the course is only a couple of weeks in. So,
Mhm.
but he says to use the color green to help really solidify your intentions.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
I've taken, and I was working with Lisa, who said that the thing that I really want to try to leverage, as far as astrologically speaking, is willpower. So
Ah,
I set my intentions of accessing the willpower that's needed for me to create the healthy foundation that I want on green paper and then in a gold dish because that
sweet.
was the first color we looked up.
Yeah,
So yeah, so I can't wait to see how that, it's
that's
starting.
interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, right. I mean, so we'll see. So I think I might be better off setting intentions to. It's kind of hard to know what order to do things in.
Right. Right. Yep.
Like one thing play, like for you, it was very obvious. You start getting your health, start focusing on your health some, and then you'll have more energy to do the other things you want to do.
100%.
And
Yep. 100%.
so I mean, we'll see. We're all a work in progress, aren't we?
Indeed. Yep.
Anyway, all right. Well, I mean, this is the end of it. So
Another
take the
episode.
time, folks. If you did the new moon, if you set your intention with us on the new moon, do you happen to have the February new moon up in front of you by any chance?
No,
The
but I
date?
can. Let me just take a quick peek here.
So if you set intentions with us on the new moon, go ahead and take the time to just use the energy of the full moon to help clear out what doesn't just invite it to clear out whatever doesn't serve. And just take a look at the intention you set and see how you're doing and maybe see if you need to take another look at it. And I mean, I still have the opportunity. I still have a couple more weeks. I
That's
can,
true. That's true.
it's
Yep.
not a
That's why we did
total
this
loss.
check-in. That's the whole point of this check-in.
Exactly right. So
February new moon is the 9th.
oh, okay. So we've got some time. We've got a
Yep.
couple of weeks before we start, and start thinking about what's a good intention for February that springboards off of, kind of what you're setting up now, because maybe this is the time to look at that what did you call it? Habit stacking, or
Habit stacking, yes.
yeah, habit stacking. I mean, let's see. Let's see if we can't make a difference in our own lives, and by extension in the lives of the folks that listen. And we sure do appreciate that you listen. So
Yeah, thanks so much for
um
being here.
thank you so much, and hit that subscribe button and the like and the share, and
All the buttons.
all
Just
those
click all the buttons.
YouTubey things. And we'll see you in a few minutes for tarot time.
Hmm.
Okay. Have a good one.